This is my third video that I'm making on how I'm raising mealworms for Rango. This is just an update video is all this is going to be, and this might be my last one that I make for mealworms unless I get any requests or anything or questions on what, on anything, and then I'll be happy to make another video if you want me to make another one. Okay, basically the update is that last time I was talking about that the beetles had laid eggs, and I was waiting for them to hatch, waiting for the eggs to hatch and turn into baby worms. Alright, so we can find some. I'll probably have to zoom in. They're so tiny. They have had a bunch of them, and I don't know if I can zoom in enough to where you can actually see any babies. Oh, there's one. Yeah, it ain't getting clear at all. I don't know if I can zoom in. They're so tiny you can barely see them. But they are in there. There's a bunch of them in there. You can barely see them, but they're still not big enough for Rango to eat yet. If I stir them up a little bit, might be able to scoop them up a little bit here so I can get them to start showing themselves a little bit. But they are in there, and they're so tiny I don't even know if I can pick them up on the camera because they're so little. Maybe I can find one munching on a carrot. Yeah. Well, they're so little that we can't see them, but they are in there. But they're real small. And of course, they're not going to show themselves now. Let's see, do this. Maybe that'll. And they're moving. Oh, there's one, poking his little head up. And you can see how little he is next to my finger. Real tiny. Alright, now these are the babies. This is actually the first nursery of mealworm babies. The second one I put, well, there are not very many in this one, but there are some in this one too. This is kind of smaller than the other one, but I had the beetles in here too, and then this is part of that substrate where they had babies in this too. And you can barely see this one. Zoom in or not to get the close-up or not. A little bitty thing. Yeah, see right there? He's real tiny. There's a whole bunch of them in here. I don't know exactly how many, but I'm going to say a rough guess is probably over 100. But right now they're so tiny you can barely see them. They might be ready for Rango to eat in about a month or two. But in the meantime, this is pretty much just, basically saying that now we have little baby worms, and it won't be long until they're big enough for Rango to eat. There's one. And he's digging and hiding. Okay. Now, I don't know how many's in this big one. It's a really big drawer. It's a big drawer, but I don't know how many's in it. I know it's got a lot in it. But hopefully in about a month or so, they'll be big enough for Rango to eat. But in the meantime, the regular size worms that are in here that Rango eats, there's still a bunch of them in here, but they are kind of population of them is kind of disappearing. It's not as many in here as it was because Rango's eating a bunch of them, and there's still a bunch of them in here, but there's probably over 100 still left in here. But you have to look a little harder. You have to look a little bit harder to find them now. It's not like it was before. There's still a few in there, but not like it was. But a lot of them are actually burrowing underneath the stuff, the substrate. And they're also pupating like crazy. Of course, the last videos I filmed of them, they didn't have a whole, well, I mean, I had a bunch of pupae, but this is like a whole bunch more. And this is all this drawer is just pupae. And I'm picking beetles out of this every single day. I'm picking a lot of beetles out of it. I don't know if you can see it or not. They look like little aliens, but they're very wiggly. You can't keep a hold of them because they want to wiggle. See? They want to wiggle like little wiggle worms. Sorry. But there's a whole bunch of them in here. I mean, you can see there's a bunch. In about the next 2 weeks, all these will be beetles. And I just got through picking the beetles out of this. This one here is fixing the... This one might be fixing the hatch now. He's a little wiggly right now. But see, he's almost... he's about to hatch into a beetle. He's getting closer to turning into one because his legs are starting to show. So it won't be much longer until he turns into one. Probably the next day or two he'll be a beetle. But you see there's a bunch of them. So I must be doing something right. Now, the other videos, I didn't show a whole lot about the beetles. But I thought that you might want to see this. If you remember in the first video, I didn't really have a whole bunch of, I mean, I had a bunch of beetles, but nothing like this. I'm going to have to sit down on the floor to get this. If the lighting will be right. Now, for anybody that's squirmish about bugs, you may not want to see this. So I'm warning you in advance. So you're probably going to like this, but for everybody else that likes beetles and stuff, you're probably going to enjoy this. Watch this stuff. Remember, I had a bunch of beetles before? Look at this. Wow. A bunch of them. Now, that's just only underneath one of the toilet paper tubes that I've got in here. Now every time I pick one of these up, you see there's more there. There's a whole lot more under here than... If you're squirmish, you may want to run. You might want to go cover your eyes. But as you can see, I'm not. I've got a whole bunch more beetles than I had before in the first video. And they're devouring the carrots I put in there. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. Like I said, if you're squirmish about bugs, you might want to cover your eyes. Yeah, look at this. It's not even counting ones. See, they're hiding under the tops too, so that's pretty awesome. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot one. Ready? Yeah, I think I'm overloaded with beetles right now, so, and they're laying eggs every day, and of course you find the beetles in here they're just mating like crazy and having more babies and stuff, and I mean laying more eggs and everything like that. I haven't I don't remember how long I've had the beetles in this container, but I usually leave them. I've only changed them out of their containers twice, and you've seen the nurseries that I have so far. I only got 2 nurseries right now, and the babies are still growing. But at this rate, I'm probably going to be, it might take a few months yet, but I may have a whole, I don't know how many baby worms I'm going to end up having in the end. But the way Rango eats the worms now, he's eating like 9, or he's getting up to where he's eating like 8 to 9 worms a day now. So it's, and every now and then on top of that, he'll eat a couple of crickets too. And the crickets are having babies too, which, I don't know if I can get a video. Well, I can try to shoot a picture of it. I don't know if I can or not. I'm sitting on the floor right now, and this is hard for me to move around and do this at the same time. But I'm going to try. But we'll see. Check in on I just gave them some water. This is the breeders that are supposed to be having babies. The ones that I've been feeding Rango, they're also having baby crickets too. So, put that over there. And there's the crickets. And of course they're getting water right now. They were thirsty. They were getting them a drink now. I know I'm taking videos, I'm shooting the crickets and all that, but I'm not, it started off being a video about the mealworms. It still is, but I just wanted to update what was going on with the worms. But as you can see, on the bottom I have that's the beetles on the bottom. The top is, or the second drawer has got the pupae in it. Zoom out again. And the top drawer has got the worms that I feed Rango. Now I have another 3-drawer cart that's sitting in the hallway, and it's only got this one drawer in it so far. I took this one out so I could film it better in here, where I keep all the food for Rango. And this one drawer is the first nursery for the mealworms, and then the second one is this little bitty one. And they both have worms in them, but they're just too little right now for Rango to eat. So maybe by next month they'll be ready to take them out and start giving them to Rango. But in the meantime, who knows, I may still have to buy a few more, just a little bit, until the other worms get big enough to be eaten by Rango. But if there's any comments or questions or anything, or if you want me to do another video on the mealworms and ask a specific question or anything, just give me a holler. You know, so that's my update on my mealworms, and it's probably the last one unless y'all want me to film another one, you know, specifically about the worms in some form or another. So I think I covered everything about the mealworms. I was waiting for the baby worms to get big enough so they could be seen. So now that they're bigger and all that, that's why I started filming them. But if you have any questions or anything, or want to leave any comments, just leave your comments, and if you have any questions, just feel free to ask if you want to ask me anything. Okay, thanks for watching.